in the area. I met my first interaction with Chris was over Twitter, and we were arguing with each other. But we squashed it immediately online, and we've been cool ever since. You know, talked a little bit. I know you might know him from Exotic Liability and Tiger Team fan, right? So he's actually a cool dude, and I was actually surprised that he's quite smart guy. Yeah,
that's a lot to live up to.
So here he is, Chris Nickerson.
Thank you, man. I don't know which one to hold. How do I hold a clicker, a beer, and the mic? Put it? No, it's not gonna fucking work.
Is that a mic in your shirt?
Here, talk.
Are you excited?
Ready for a TSA pat?
TSA, dude. Oh, find my mic. All right. Goddamn talking. I was like supposed to come and just like chill out. But it's all good. Hi. That's, my slides are really important, by the way.
Great content.
Yeah, it gets better. So thank you for bringing me. Like, I really appreciate it. You, Sparkface, sitting on your laptop. Yeah, you. That's right. Thank you for, I guess, letting me sit there and talk to myself for however long it's gonna take.
My bad, bro.
I can't. I took fucking hands. I would have drank the alcohol. I promise. But thank you, El Mariachi. All right. So yeah, talking to myself. Spencer picked me up this morning because I was like fast asleep, and
that's not a picture of me, by the way.
Yeah, that's what they all say. But I figured since I was bored, I would come down here. And since I was down here, I tried really, really hard not to suck at giving a presentation. So anyway, that's me, and that's really me, and kind of what I look like in the off season, and my credentials are pretty much that. That's what most people think of me. That's really fine as well. I kind of don't care about it, because if you don't like it, you can troll me. Fuck you. I mean, really, like, I kind of don't give a fuck about what people think about me. But anyway, so we're all on the same page about my history, right? So where do we start? What am I going to talk about? So I want to kind of start and talk about where we are today, right? So, and sort of where we came from in general. And really, to do any of that, we kind of got to look at computers, right? Because that's kind of what all of us are in a way, shape, or form. Yeah, maybe? Okay, so anybody know what that is? Pascaline. Way earlier. Enigma's bitch machine in comparison to Pascaline, which is in like the 1600s. Right, so this is the beginning of computing for us. Right, this is where we started to have automated adding machines, and we started to move up through time, and as we moved up through time, we got difference engines. Right, in the 1800s, we went from different engines, two things, like the Enigma in the 20s. We started having the first prototype computers, the ABC, right? Which then turned into, you know what that is? Enoch? Yeah, right? That's like the Godfather gangster of all computers. This is like the origin.
I am your father.
Exactly, right? This is Vader. This is before Vader, right? And then we started to get in all these awesome companies that were these little shops that really gave a shit about you. And then you started to have the, beginning of AT&T making transistors, which started to jet computing into a whole other era, right? So we had the Intel, you know what that is, model it is? 4004. That's the beginning of the first Intel processors, right? And then we started to be fucked. We really, really started to be fucked. We started to have all these awesome ads of how sweet computers were, and we started showing people how you could put screens on it and start interacting with it, and it was really sexy to have things like modems. It was a sweet old school modem. And it was, super hardcore, 1200 BPS, and then you had cheap hard disk space starting to arise. And that meant we could have porn and all this other stuff. So now people really want to use computers because it's like totally useful, right? And you can have all these awesome things, and you can start doing stuff like interacting with people on them. That's fucking awesome, right? You can really interact with people. You get this thing called email, and then electronic mail comes out, and now you're like sending people messages and getting messages, and then this little company comes around and makes it easy for you, because instead of all the crazy typing shit, you can now like run your hand over it and click it, and they start making these great marketing ads, which turns the entire industry fucking gay. And since the industry's now completely gay, we're wondering what we're doing, but we're really getting stronger in general, right? And at that point, we become totally dependent on this new technology that we're building. Like we have to jack into the wall all times, right? So we make the interwebs, and it starts off as a couple little points, and then it really looks like this. That's kind of the origin of where your internet came from. And then as it goes from there, you start to get to general bulletin boards and stuff like that. You start getting into the smart webs. Yes. Right? Like Prodigy and AOL, like all the thing where we used to go try and cyber with people before it became a bad term. Which I still think is awesome. Like, I think cyber warfare, and I think it's just a whole bunch of people gangbanging in a chat room. So anyway, we get the internet, speaking of, and we get these really awesome web pages, right? These really sweet, awesome, high-value graphical content, kick-ass looking things, and the internet takes off, right? So now we get the Web 2.0 action, and now we're able to see videos and all this other really, really cool shit, and we start using all these things like social media landscapes, and we start being able to tell people about everything we do, from taking a shit to waking up to finding new research to whatever else, and we start telling people exactly who we are, where we are, how we are, as we are, and we puke all of our information across the entire fucking internet, everywhere, just so we allow Google, right? The fucking US Department of Omnipotent Information Awareness, that's really honestly like this crazy mind share of everyone, the like fucking psychedelic Jesus janitor, that all of us dump our shit on the floor to, so that they can show it back to us for a price. But anyway, what about the other side? Right? What about this, we made this cool tech, but what happened to us? Because there's a really distinct difference in how we grew, right? We had things happen. We had this thing, this hacker get created, right? This is the evolution of our human species evolving with the technology that we're becoming so addicted to. This is the definition of a hacker. If you don't agree with it, fuck you, you're wrong. Sorry. It doesn't mean writing Ode and being neat and cool and jerking off on stage because of how neat your stuff is. That's lame. It really, really is bad. Okay? I know, I'll fight people for it, I don't care. This is a hacker. Thank you. Right? All of you men are bitches, you weren't first. She was. Do you know why? Come on. No history people in here? She was the first programmer.
Ada Lovelace?
Yes. Before the early 1800s, when difference engines came out, she was the first one to do any programming in difference engines, which is the origin of any of the computing that we're doing today. Sorry, guys. Totally missed it. By like a couple hundred years, we missed it. So then we started to evolve a little bit more once the men caught up 100 years later from Ada. And we started dropping bombs on stuff, right? We started using logic. We started taking that logic and applying it to some of the things that were defeating us as humans. So bomb was the first kind of brute force attack that they used against Enigma. That's how Enigma really got cracked, was through the bomb exercise. Then from there, we started to get into like the 60s, where we were taking a bunch of psychedelics, blowing our own mind out as far as computing was concerned. And then we fell upon Ode. Right? Now, I don't know how many of you were like around for wares trading. Okay? Does it hurt you every time you hear Ode? Because that means a new video game that hasn't been released anywhere else. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't mean anything with vulnerabilities or exploits at all. That term was already taken, you reapplied it to something, and that's done. Figure out your own new word. Oday's video game shit. It has nothing to do with hacking. But, whatever. The real Oday that started the hacking was when trained students started to figure out algorithms and started to making all of these different really, really neat things happen on the train track in a model train group at MIT. It's the first really time the word hacker was applied to someone who was manipulating electronic systems for use beyond what conventional use at that time was. Okay? Yes, we're all adamant train people, right? That's why we're all called hackers and we wear cool hacker t-shirts, because we're into trains. So history, right? We used to have this awesome idea, and I don't know where the fuck it went, that collaboration was cool. Right? It used to be really cool to collaborate on things. It would be really, really cool if you were a train hacker to show somebody else how to do it, and they would take your technique and roll it into something else, and that technique would get rolled into something else, and it would be virally spread across all of the different users who were using these systems, and the systems would evolve. And then version 2.0 came out because of all the different hacks that were happening at the time. And then you started to get hacker groups, right? So now you think about in like the 70s, when CAP was for the first time published in Vogue magazine. Right? That's how awesome and Vanity were based on, is that the first real article on hackers was done in Vogue in the 70s. Right? And then the shit completely hit the fan. Because we started showing everybody about how cool this stuff really was, and we started having camps for it, and we started having our own little hacker gang wars because we were such bitches we couldn't work together anymore. We started making all sorts of elite crews and tools, and we started really digging into what collaboration could be. And we love to share it. We absolutely love to share. We love to share it so much, we made our own system to share it with. Yes, these are all the old BBSs I used to hang out on, and like Ray's got busted for porn, and it fucked up my life for a couple months. But we built these things around sharing. What's that?
But when can we cut off your access to porn for a couple of months?
Well, it just taught me some new access bypass techniques. So we built all these systems to share this stuff. We started to build magazines around sharing. We started to have periodicals that constantly taught people new techniques and tried to change the evolution of the humans that were using these devices that we're all addicted to. We tried to push our own minds. We tried to push our own minds so much that we created handbooks so that people who didn't know shit about it could learn. It wasn't even, there was no bar to entry at all. It was, you've never even seen a computer before? The first thing you should do is read the Hacker Handbook. Fuck getting a computer. Read this. And then when you get it, you will throw down with this thing. And then we wrote our own manifesto to tell the world that we were here as a new dawn, as a new job, as a new type of mindset. This is getting lost, dude. Like, this is where we came from, this passionate, amazing world of sharing information and being selfless and being able to truly experience someone else and their knowledge and not have to laugh at them because they didn't know fucking Emacs versus VI, or because they didn't write Odays in this thing versus this thing, when it's so stupid that people even call it Oday. Because does anyone know of real Oday that's happened recently? Come on, somebody play with me on this. Say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me one. No, I mean for real, tell me Oday. Excuse me, tell me Oday that's an actual new way of hacking something. Not what they call Oday, which is finding the same tired old bullshit that we found for 15 years on a new product. I want Oday. I want a new way to trigger. I want a new exploit, a really new exploit, one that's never been found and never been triggered that way before. Hasn't happened in a real long time, yet we're real proud of ourselves. Because even at that time, we were still teaching camps. We were taking kids that could do anything in the world and putting them in a camp and going, hey, here's how to share information with people, here's how to find it up. We even had funerals for our dying technology. That's how emotionally involved in this we were. Right? That's what DEF CON's from. It was the death of BBSs. So, what happened? Like, where did all this go? This was this amazing, passionate world that we lived in, and it fucking flew away. It got completely lost, right? We watched this entire looming, dark, crazy society build around money, right? Because when we were doing this in the 60s and 50s and 70s and even the 80s, for the most part, there wasn't a whole lot of money in it. But now that money got involved and people realized that they could get hot chicks and get laid, and they could get a bunch of fucking cool cars, it made everybody switch sides. And now a line had to be drawn. Good guy or bad guy. And this is where it's at now. And I don't like that. Because we've taken this beautiful world and we've sucked all the goodness out of it for our own self-edification. So what? Right? How do you fix this? What do you do? Right? Because that's pretty bleak. Yeah, I know, right? Reality fucking blows. Well, I started looking at this stuff and I was trying to figure out, like, the whole reason I wanted to do the talk, and I did it at Hash Days, was that people were like giving like the, oh hey, here's the next cool solution, here's the next dope widget that you can buy that will make $1 billion off of, that will save the world for the next 10 minutes until somebody figures out a bypass or a way around it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of lame that like we're screwing the world that way. Like we're forcing people to put in new stuff that screws them harder. So the only thing I could start to look at was like, how do we get screwed? Right? And I had to start figuring out, and our records of this really suck, but looking at how many machines there really were, and how many boxes there really were, and how many people were out there actually using computing. Now this is just computers, this isn't taking phones and all this other crazy bullshit that we are connected to all day long. And then start looking, based on that, how many users are sitting in there, how many users are going, and how much the growth is happening. So now we get an idea of how many assets there are and how much it's growing. Right? And there's a ton of money involved in that. I mean a ton of money involved in that. Because we started to look at loss, and I'm looking at loss and trying to figure out, how does loss get created when you have this huge growth of users and this huge, huge growth of assets? And where does all this loss come from? And then, you can go through the millions of different, whatever cool semantic Verizon, whatever lie of the day that you want to use to associate why we're losing money. But the fact is that in the 70s, right, you think the Morse worm caused roughly about $10,000 worth of damage. Right? Yet it infected like 60% of what was the internet at that time. Imagine 60% of right now and how much that would cost us with the adopted new rates, with all of the new people using it, with everything in business we rely on. Right? That's a lot of money. Let's say even if it was 5 times that and $50,000, and we applied that to today. We applied that to all of the users today and the value of all the assets today, right? That was 5 incidents. Now we're looking at trillions of dollars a year, right now. And our studies all agree with that. Our studies all say we're losing trillions of dollars a year. So I think that's funny, right? Because there has to be some correlation. There has to be some correlation with the growth. There has to be some correlation to the assets, and there has to be some correlation to the loss. So it kind of became easy, right? Like kicking a puppy or punching a baby. And I sort of had this like epiphany moment, right? That we keep buying these bigger guns, and it's not working, right? Like we keep trying to do all this new shit, and it doesn't work, and we get more fucked, and we lose more money. So what can we change, right? we could change the users. It's where everybody goes, no, you can't change users, blah, blah, blah. Right? Guess what? If you say no, you can't change users, you're the asshole, not the user. It's you. It's your fault. Because we need to teach people deception this way and not this way. Right? Yeah. That guy's a shit. Fucking rapist. We need to teach people about war this way, not like this. This is how we teach people war right now in the networks. Build a whole bunch of really cool shit when you're outside. Fortify and do this layers thing. Like, layers don't fucking matter to that. Right? That's throw down and own you. This is build a bunch of layers for an exercise and spend a shitload of money to be fucked. We need to educate people, not judge them. Right? Because all of us, and myself, I mean, like, I know I've done it, right? This person's an idiot. They don't understand. Right? How many times do you sit and you show somebody shell on something and they can't connect with what that risk really is? It's your fault. You're showing them the wrong picture. That's like me giving you a book in Italian and you don't read Italian and I'm like, you fucking idiot. You didn't get what that book said? What are you, retarded? No, I'm the idiot. I didn't assess that you didn't know fucking Italian. It's my fault. And we need to own up to the fact that this shit is our fault. We need to drop knowledge on people. We need to educate and train them and help them through it. Because the only thing that you'll start to see if you start to look at these numbers is that 30 years ago, the percentage of hackers to the percentage of users was really trackable. Most of the users were hackers. By that definition I put up there. Most. Think about that if most of the users on the internet today were hackers. Do you think we'd be safer? Really? Like, I want to know, like, do you think we'd be safer?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, we would be. Then what are we doing? We just sit in fucking conferences and suck each other's dick all day? We're like, woo, it's fucking, oh, it's awesome. We're like, you're awesome. I'm awesome too, you know? Fuck. Right? Like, we really need to teach people. Like, go out, throw a conference. Invite people from all over the place. Get shit-faced at a bar and talk security with somebody who does not give a shit about it. And if you can make it interesting to them, you're fixing the world way better than any person who's putting in a firewall, or you're selling people bullshit, or you're hacking the outside of their network and showing them reports. If you take one person in a bar who could give a fuck less about security and teach them something that interests them, that makes them do something better in their life, you have made a difference. So all I gotta say is, it's our fault. And we just have to believe that it can get better. Because right now, I think a lot of us don't believe it can get better. A lot of us want to hide behind the users are dumb and we're fucked and social engineering gets you everything. Fucking teach them motherfucker to not do it. Like, teach them. Do you just accept the fact that your mom's gonna get punched in the face and robbed? Hell no. You will kill that son of a bitch. You'll track them down. You got fucking the internet. And you're a hacker. You will kick that ass and rob them and laugh at them. Right? Like, teach them. Have that same veracity to a total stranger and watch the world get better. And just because I have to, be a superhero. I'm done. That's it.
Hey, where's the mic at, man?
You put it on the couch.
Okay. All right. Dude is sometimes I think he's crazy, but I think he's hitting it right. He's hitting what do you say, the nail right on the head, because I think we talk about it all the time. The crew over there, the Adjudicate space, we actually have these debates all the time about educating people, training people, and that's why I like these hacker spaces and stuff. We definitely need to step up our game. Quit pointing the finger. It's easy to be prideful and think you're a know-it-all, because I do it all the time. A couple weeks ago, I blew up on Down Dog on Twitter. I just apologize. Sometimes you just have to be humble. Humility is the name of the game, because anybody could get owned at any time.
Hell yeah.
And so if you think you're big and bad and unhackable and the world's #1 hacker and all this stuff, you're probably going to get owned at some time, and you got to just take a dose of humble pie. All right, so we do have 3 talks remaining today, and what I want to do for you is that I've talked to the speakers. We want to get this done. We want to get the 3 talks done. After that, we're going to go out to eat. It's a really good time to network with people. Some people you probably won't see this collection of people until you go to another con, and also it won't be as intimate. This is a very intimate setting to network with people that know stuff. So I'm gonna ask you stay as long as possible. We want to do these talks. We want to clean up the space, and we're going to go out to eat. So who's going out to eat with us?
Sure.
So we're going to have a nice crew of people. We're going to network, talk, and we're trying to build relationships here because we can all learn from each other.
Place yet?
Huh?
You have a place yet?
Tiffany, do we have a space where we're going? We're finding a place to go.
Hot blue? Question mark?
Red hot blue. We had it. We ate there last night and we enjoyed it. That could be a possibility. But after the next talk, I'll announce to you where we're going to go. All right?
You gonna plug this for me?
We're talking about building communities here. All right. Next talk coming up in 5 minutes.
1 second.